Hi, friends. Welcome again to another episode of Soaring Through Chaos. And as I've said before, the purpose of this series is to support all of us to understand that, yes, we are in challenging times. Some of us are going through crisis. All of us are going through some degree of chaos in our life. And what I hear from therapists, doctors, artists is that when we are out of our comfort zone, when we are in these challenging times, that's when the greatest opportunities to thrive arise. So it is really important for us to find our ground and to accept what comes and grow. So today is a very special day, and Sneh is going to tell us, Sneh Sankpal is going to tell us what's special about today. Please tell us, Sneh.
Yeah, thank you, Shankar. So today is World Brain Day. Even I didn't know about this day. I was just going to Google in the morning and I came across this World Brain Day. I didn't know that we have to celebrate our brain day also. And then I just Googled and I got very nice information. They're having very amazing thing for today. So what's the purpose of World Brain Day? So there are many days related to neurological diseases being celebrated by professional organizations in collaboration with World Health Organization, national organizations, and local health ministries, including World Stroke Day, Epilepsy Day, etc. These days have proven to be extremely helpful in promoting public awareness and generating advocacy throughout the globe, including developing Asian, African, and Latin American countries. The World Federation of Neurology was established on July 22nd, 1957. It was suggested by the Public Awareness and Advocacy Committee that 22nd July 2014 should be celebrated as World Brain Day. And they had a campaign theme that our brain, our future. And the theme for 2020 is really very interesting and amazing. It's Parkinson's disease. And they have a key message for today that is move together to end Parkinson's disease. And we have some amazing personality with us who is working in the field of Parkinson's disease. That is Vonita Singh. Hi, Vonita.
Hi, how are you? Thank you, Shankar. Thank you, Sneha.
And every time we choose a theme, and today the three of us actually met last year at the SIMTI, also known as the Creative Movement Therapy Association of India. They have an annual conference, and there were like 200 amazing people with a variety of background in the arts, the sciences, in movement, in therapy, counseling, neuroscience, and the three of us today, after Sneh reminded us that it's World Brain Day and particularly focused on Parkinson's disease, we decided to come together. And Sneh is a young artist plus now a therapist, a counselor in the area of creative movement, dance movement therapy. And Vanita has been at it for much longer than all of us. I'm not a therapist, but I love to dance and I do a lot of healing dances. Vanita, tell us about you. How did you get into this field and why Parkinsonism in particular?
Yeah, it's that's um, as I said, I could have verbal diarrhea on this topic, so I need to be controlled because this is something so close to heart now. Um, I have been a dancer too. I started learning Kathak when I was 3.5. I was told by my mom, and it's typical how you start a neighborhood hobby class. There's some art class happening at some other house, and some friends go together. So that was Kathak for me. And believe you me, the first 6 months were torturous. Like you're just there, take that, take that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There was no variety. There was not much movement. There wasn't much dance. But we stayed on, and and before I could even realize, it was almost like I had got addicted to this modality or a regime in my life. Mom tells me I was 5 when I had my first public performance in Kathak. Uh, so Kathak stayed with me Shankar, and I started, I took it through the years of my school, my college, even through my Ph.D. when I was doing my anthropology in Delhi University. There were times that I could not get out and go for my rehearsals. I've been with Uma Sharma ji in New Delhi. She's a Kathak exponent, dances of international fame for 10 plus years. It was like second home to me there. But there was this decision, do I need to pursue this as a profession, or it stays as a passion? And which it did for the rest of the years after that as well. So I had to discontinue my formal learning and performing as a Kathak dancer. But I was in Mexico City for 3 years.
Wow. I was
Yeah,
there
when you
only
told
for
me
three
about
months.
Mexico for 3 years. So because when you told me, I said, okay, bueno, because we did pick up a bit of Spanish and I loved the language. It was there, Sneha and Shankar, I realized that what I took for granted, having done that for years, as it became a little chore, it became just a little routine in my life. I loved it, I enjoyed it, but only when I started sharing it with people, I realized the benefits and the power it has as a medium. People in Mexico I saw were so wanting of this. And I was also in Australia with my husband. I performed on the student cultural evening at his university in Ballarat, just off Melbourne. And there were calls from people who wanted to learn this whilst I was there for the 10 months. And so all that I had learned, long story short, I realized the true essence of dance. It wasn't just mechanically, like spirit and and the faster and the more periods that you take, the better it seemed, which of course is a great potential as a dancer. But when I started teaching, I really had to come down to the very basics, almost like relearning, or as a teacher, you start to become a new learner and new student as a teacher. Wow, I didn't realize this is how it had to be performed. And whilst that happened, like without much uh, mind or effort, call it serendipity, yeah, but there was something that told me I had to take dance to a different level. I didn't know what it was, but I started to connect with dance in a very different manner. So in Mexico, we traveled to different cities, just sharing the art, talking about the very basic of dance, up until the time that so while I was in Mexico, my dad was going through Parkinson's. His journey with Parkinson's had started. I was far away and I only went back once a year. But so Parkinson's is a brain disorder. It's a neurological disorder. It's the number 2, uh, most challenging of the disorders after Alzheimer's. So it was only after Dad passed on and I saw him through his journey, I realized how important it was for him to move. And not just move, but move mindfully. Because in Parkinson's, because dopamine is starting to, dopamine producing cells are starting to die, your movement is compromised, it's challenged. Your autonomous system doesn't happen anymore. So you need to relearn, retrain. So I realized that like a dancer, I learn a piece. We all are dancers. We learn a piece, we memorize it, we practice it, and then we perform it, right? A person with
Yeah.
Parkinson's needs to do just that now. Even if it's a simple act of walking, left hand and the right foot and the alternate, no one tells us to do that. It's happening automatically. Not anymore with Parkinson. So I realized that it was such a challenge to just walk normal. And there comes in prompts and cues as a dancer. Okay, now 1 and the right, go left, and the 2, go left and right. So you are actually breaking down walking into an activity with rhythm and music so that it becomes your second nature and it becomes your new muscle memory. So as a dancer, I thought it was like, wow. And Kathak, I mean, I don't know any other dance form, but any dance form, as long as we understand the challenges of the problem that we are wanting to solve, um, dance as a modality is a beautiful, beautiful intervention. So with Papa, my dad having gone through Parkinson's and we having dealt with the challenges with a dance background, as I said, call it serendipity. I was as if preparing myself through these years of learning Kathak to now use that learning as an approach to help those who are challenged by Parkinson's. So,
Wow, what a
yeah,
beautiful
that's
journey. And I mean, I'm sorry that you were not seeing the application of dance when your dad was still alive and still the possibilities. But it's never too late. We all, whatever the lessons, the hard lessons we learn, we can make sure
oh
others
yeah.
don't suffer.
But what keeps me very happy doing this today is because that was one soul who encouraged me to dance and not give it up. Like,
Wow.
in 10th grade or 12th grade, when you're burdened with your CBSE exam syllabus, and I was into sports, I was, doing other extra curricular activities. I would just say that, "Nahi, I can't do it. I have to leave dance now. It's taking too much of my time." You would say, no, take a break and go back to it. And it's not that we came from a family of dancers or musicians. No, he was an engineer, mom was a doctor. We were just like normal middle class family in Delhi. Um, but as I said, there was, when you see back, you see the dots getting connected. That time one didn't know what. I would like to look at it like there was a pattern that we don't see now. And then you're going through it. But in hindsight, looking back, that prepared me for this. So I owe
I
it to him.
can, Vanita ji, I can see that you're a trained dancer because sometimes the screen freezes and you're freezing in different poses. That's so cute. Uh, and in fact, I was in Mexico quite unexpectedly. I was there for 3 weeks. I had gone to learn certain dances and also to share my understanding of yoga, meditation, and also neuroscience of happiness. And guess what? Both California, which is my other home, and my home in India both went into lockdown or shelter in place. So I just stayed there for 3 months.
You stayed
So
there.
everything from ¿Cómo estás? ¿Todo bien?
Todo bien.
Muy bien.
Muy bien.
And what is interesting was how much, as you know, Mexico is a very, very expressive culture.
Mhm.
And I see a lot of people, men and women, which is very rare. Actually, their life becomes a dance. Do you know what I mean? Whenever they're talking, they're walking, they're like, Shankar. They're like every
Yeah,
expression
it's so lyrical. Yeah,
so
it's
lyrical.
like even if you say like sorry, what you said, hola, ¿cómo estás? Hola, ¿cómo
Hola.
estás?
Yes.
Yeah, and you say bien, y tú, like
You
and
too?
you.
And you?
Yeah,
Today I
y
was
tú.
inviting a friend who is also a therapist
Yeah.
in Mexico City. And I
Uh-huh.
was in Cuernavaca, which is in Morelos. And
Yes.
exactly that's what happened. I go like, ¿Cómo estás? And he goes, muy bien. ¿Y tú? It's like so cute the way
It's
to
so
put
lyrical. It's so beautiful. I love the
that.
language. It's
And
so
my mother
nice.
tongue, interestingly, from Goa, and I think Sneh
Mhm.
has also some similarities to that. Maharashtra, Goa, and Karnataka, there's this coastal
Uh-huh.
belt where the Portuguese ruled for almost 500 years. So
Yes.
my mother tongue has a lot of Portuguese, which is a cousin of Espanol.
So
So
similar
I
to yes.
identified the
Mhm.
styles as well as some of the words. It
Yes.
is amazing. So, I mean, there are entire cultures that are very super expressive.
Oh
I
yes.
wonder if Parkinsonism is less in those cultures. I just don't know if there's any study about that. I have no idea. Sneh,
About
you
mhm.
also got into dance and all fairly early, is that right?
Yeah, I started dancing at very young age, like 3, 4 years, and it was complete Bollywood dance. And
Ah.
when someone is seeing, I should hide it. Like, no, don't show me. I'm just dancing for myself. But gradually came like I wanted to perform in each and every competition. I used to perform my annual day, and I was famous dancer in my school.
Sure.
Wow. And interestingly, I used to dance as a child, but I was so heavily discouraged by the culture that I was in
Yeah.
Bombay. And there was no Govinda at that time. There was no, only Amitabh Bachchan had the license to dance. Now we have
Yeah.
many more
Right.
dancers. So I
Yeah.
discontinued. I discontinued as a
Mm.
teenager, and I got back into it after doing meditation and vipassana because there was an inner urge to move, and I googled on dance with no steps, and I found 5 rhythms. So,
Yeah.
so tell us more, Vanita, about how does it help people with Parkinsonism? What does movement do to people with Parkinsonism? You said mindful movement. What kind of how does it help people?
Yeah, that's a very, it is an important subtle difference between what as creative movement therapists some of us have as a background, and then Kathak, which is a classical dance form. In fact, before I go any further, I would love to share this little shloka, which is the very basis of all Indian classical dances, dance forms that we have. It's a Sanskrit
Sure.
couplet which goes, Yatho hasto tatho drishti. So it's Yatho hasto tatho drishti. Wherever the hands go, the eyes follow. Drishti, the eyes follow. Yatho drishti tatho manaha. Wherever the eyes are, the mind is. Yatho manaha tatho bhava. Wherever the mind is, feelings are. Yatho bhava tatho rasa. So wherever the feelings are, the emotions arise. So as a dancer, I call dance as meditation in motion. My eyes are following my hands. My feet are beating to a rhythm. My ears are listening to that rhythm. It's a mind-body connect. I mean, you are in the now. You couldn't be meditating more. If I'm doing ta, 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 I cannot not be attentive to my rhythm. I could be talking, but initially, if you start 1, 2, 3, 4, and I say, okay, Shankar, what did you have for breakfast today? You go, oh, 3, 2. Yeah, somebody who doesn't have that background. So, Kathak, which is a structured dance form, or any classical, Indian classical dance form, or the other classical dance forms, they work wonders for people with Parkinson's, as I earlier said, because your autonomous nervous system has called it quits. It's not happening anymore. The internal cueing system of the brain not helping you. You're compromised for movement. So what do? You're kind of caged in your body. The answer is counterintuitive. Move. You have to move to overcome this movement disorder. But not just move, it is the art of movement. As my mentor, who actually is in the Bay Area, one of my mentors, John Argue, uh, he I trained under him for a few sessions in Brooklyn when I went. So I went to train for dance for PD way back in 2013. And so since internal cueing is not helping us, we need external prompts, cues, be it rhythm, be it auditory, be it visual, but there has to be a prompt and a cue. And a person with Parkinson's needs that. So movement has to be mindful, has to be conscious, there has to be intention in the movement. Because what happens is, because of lack of dopamine, your automatic system is not happening. There is slowness of everything, there is smallness of everything. Everything becomes micro. Your handwriting becomes, it's what you call micrographia. You want to look right and you do that. You're not able to do that. You move your
Wow.
hands, not like that, but you just do that. everything diminishes in size. Okay, so you need to be exaggerating and say out and 3, 4, up, go 3, 4. Whether it's the walk or it's the voice, all the muscles get gripped by Parkinson's disease. Everything becomes tight, rigidity sets in. And how do you fight rigidity? Open up and move, and expand, and exaggerate. So a lot of therapies aimed at helping people with Parkinson's, which are movement based, focus on, John argues to call it GMC. It has to be graceful, it has to be mindful, it has to be complete. You know, any action has a beginning, a middle, and the end. So it has to be complete. So with Parkinson's, what happens many times, you're unable to finish a movement, unable to finish a dialogue because you're short of breath and you're not able to complete. So graceful, mindful, and complete. And I feel what better modality than dance to have all these three criteria filled in, right? So if I say, let's put our hands up. So one is just there, but the minute you bring imagery, let's look up to the skies, to the Lord up there. So there is that emotion in the movement, which comes through dance, which comes through imagery. That's the language of the movement. It's not just movement, it's the mood of the movement. If I say, let's move our hands back and forth. And if I say, okay, Shankar, you're sat on a boat in Kerala and you're going splash the water and splash, 3, go 4. Suddenly your mood changes. Instead of saying, okay, right and left, 10, 9, I mean, with due respect to all our workout, but the minute you bring imagery, which is part of the dance and music with rhythm, right? So that is where the mindfulness comes in, and it is beyond any doubt. There's enough research being done that one has to be mindful of how you're moving, especially for Parkinson's, where the neuro system is such that it needs external prompt. So I feel it's as if, I mean, Kathak was as if designed by the one above to help people with Parkinson's. It's so in place. So
Yeah,
in place.
and I'm so glad you're talking about movement, especially at times like this when we are in the pandemic,
Oh, yeah.
because as somebody who has studied the neuroscience of happiness and neuroscience of compassion, I'm not an expert, but I dabble in many things, as I mentioned.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
Dopamine is so related to happiness. If if one is happy, if one is passionate about anything we're doing, the endorphin flow is natural. So something, whether it's a psychosomatic illness, something has stopped the flow of dopamine. It could be a tragedy in their life. It could be aging process. It could be a variety of things. I don't even know if you've gone to the
Some trigger,
basics.
yeah.
But what we
Mm-hmm.
do know is that places like Stanford Hospital now are not only researching but putting into place some dance, some mindful dance as a part of the routine for people with Parkinsonism. And also, I believe many other hospitals have followed or have been doing it for a while. We know in Africa, since we're talking about different cultures, the shamans often, when you take, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
relate that, Vanita? So when
No,
somebody's
I'd
sick,
love to hear from you what because you have a flow there, some thoughts coming out. So I would love to
yeah.
hear that.
So when a person is sick and they take them to the shaman usually asks the simple question: Boy, when did you stop singing? Hey
Yeah,
girl, when did you stop dancing?
dancing.
And if it is only 1 or 2 days, it's, oh, that's a minor ailment. If it's been a month, oh, that requires some work.
That's
And
serious
if it's
then,
been a
yeah.
few years, that's chronic. Because movement and music are even more primitive. We moved our bodies and we heard sounds and we made sounds even before we started walking and before we
Absolutely.
started talking. We say walk the walk and talk the talk. But
Yeah,
honestly, doing the dance has been that much longer than walking and listening and speaking. Shravanam, And, Kirtanam has been there much earlier, even from the
Absolutely.
womb. In fact, could you speak to that? Even Sneh, you've been in it too. So, one of you jump in and describe how these are even, before we started talking, which means pre-verbal. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of association of sound, music. That's why we love the cultural music. If you're in Mexico, then you want to sing Kayayita and you want to sing the songs over there. If you're in India, you want Jingat in Bombay and you want Kathak in the north. Because we cannot explain it. It's before we even found words.
Yeah, we're so hardwired. We're so hardwired to like, even if a little beat, even if it's a different rhythm that we haven't heard, without realizing, we start to tap our feet under the table, and we start to, sitting in satsang or kirtans, you don't even realize, you just start to sway your body or you start to clap. You're not putting any attention, but it happens. Well, as you said, it's from times immemorial. It's so hardwired to music and movement that, I mean, before any sophisticated language was even developed, uh, we have been exposed to the primitive language of
And
and
so
movement as well. Yeah.
And so I have a question, especially during the pandemic, we see much higher levels of anxiety, depression. We also see, what should I say, what's called the amygdala hijacking. There's too
Mhm.
much of too many people, and that includes us sometimes. Suddenly, oh my God, in my neighborhood, for example, 10
Mhm.
people who turned positive in the last week. The first thing was like, oh, we're not doing it right. We're not wearing the mask. We're not doing the lot of guilt and a lot of
Yeah.
freeze. And then like, oh no, we're gonna fight it out. Who are we fighting? A virus?
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or the government is not taking care, the blame
Yeah.
game. So it is even more important, in my opinion, to take care of the dopamine, because the dopamine receptors are waiting for, there's a need for endorphins. People are not having enough joy in their life. Would either of you want to elaborate on that? Well, it is necessary, especially for people with other comorbidities, with ailments, with anxiety and concerns, to be able to move, so that to be able to find anything that they're passionate about, singing and dancing as a part of it, so that they can get the flow going.
Yeah,
What do
no,
you think?
yeah, I'll just say something here, because you're so right. I mean, sitting away from our the rest of the families, or stuck alone somewhere, or with our parents and relative and ages that they are, even if they are not worried about contracting COVID, they're worried about falling ill and having to go to a hospital, be saying, oh my God, I don't want to go to a hospital because, you know. So there is so much of anxiety at every level. And the more we talk to ourselves, it's not going to help just talking to our mind. Like monkey mind wouldn't listen to us, right? If I said, Shankar, don't turn back, there's a pink elephant behind you, you are going to want to turn back and see the pink elephant. So for me, as one of the self-care or go-to point is my breath, really, movement and breath, and uh, and I've really learned um, about uh, the transitioning from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic, through your vagal toning. So that includes clapping or smiling or singing or clipping, joining satsangs and focusing on deep breaths, which without a doubt will bring you into the parasympathetic mode. And once you are a little more in that calmer state, will some counseling or self-talk also make a dent? Because if you are in that sympathetic breathing mode, it's like hitting your head against the wall. Nothing's going to help us. So I would say really step one is to really indulge in long, deep breaths, um, get into some bit of vagal toning, and then yeah, and sheer acceptance of the situation is a big help. The big A is accepting the situation that it is, and then finding ways to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so in
Sneha,
some ways
you
we are
would
all
want to
getting
add
a taste
to
of.
that?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. No, sorry, I thought if Sneha wanted to add something to that.
Yeah, so when the lockdown started over in India, I was taking my sessions at old age resident, and due to the age, it was like unka pehla band kar dena. And then I was stuck at home. So during those days, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar started meditation twice a day, in the morning at afternoon 12 o'clock and evening 7:30. So I started doing the meditation, and the such a drastic change while doing regularly meditation, because like if I missed one day or even one time, I was feeling restless. So even we can start learning new things in this. And about the COVID, people should understand what exactly it is, how does it spread. They should gain knowledge which is real in the medical terms, what is truth, than having misconceptions and myths. Because I traveled from Pune to my hometown, and it's almost like 21, 22 days I have come to my hometown. Here, over people, they're not talking to us just because they have a misconception in their mind that people who have come from Maharashtra, especially from Pune, they are carrying the virus with them.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you talk to them, they'll get the virus. So these kind of things really are disturbing. Like a vegetable vendor comes, they are like, don't sell vegetables to them. So what will we eat in this situation? And the lockdown is extending over here because my town is on the border. So people coming from Maharashtra, people coming from Karnataka, all come and they are meeting up on the border. Difficult here to easily commute or get anything easily. So people should also understand these things in the situation that
Awareness.
really we know all the things. Just reading for WhatsApp forwards, nobody gets knowledge or a medical degree in such situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of us have faced it in different ways. Uh, when I came back from North America, from Mexico to India, I was told that I could be the one spreading the disease. So I stayed
All
two
right.
weeks at home, like really stayed at home, because I think it is necessary because I don't want to get other people worried. You know what I mean? More
Yeah.
than anything else. And besides the risk of physical health issues, there's the economic impact. 10 times
Mhm.
more people have lost jobs or are not able to do their business. And of course, 10 times more than that, which is almost everybody, is concerned, whether it's the health
About, yeah.
or the physical health, economic health, mental, just anxiety and all that.
Mm.
So I would highly recommend um, that irrespective of our age, this is the time to take care of our body and mind. So
Yeah.
any techniques that are being discussed today with respect to Parkinsonism would apply to all of us because we are at low dopamine levels right now.
Yeah.
Getting doped will not help. Dancing and moving or doing any art that can help us feel
Yeah.
good about ourselves. If you like poetry, if you like writing, anything, physical movement, the good thing is that it also keeps your body in
The
motion,
cardio going, yeah.
cardio going, exactly,
But
and it
any
brings
form
it.
of art, yeah, any form of art, because they say, right, you just said, when you practice any form of art, the brain rewires itself. It bypasses the blocks and it
Yes.
then gets to do what it has to do. So any form of art, whether it's singing, as you said, or visual arts, or it's
And so,
dance.
Vanita, have you actually seen changes? You've been doing, uh, what is it, dance for Parkinsonism, dance therapy, creative arts for Parkinsonism for a while. Have you actually seen changes in the lives of people? Can you
Yeah,
give some
yeah,
examples, or do you have?
yeah.
I know you have some excellent videos to show us. Wait, is this the
Yeah,
right time to show it?
let's try that. So
Uh,
I've been now doing this, had this initiative for about 5 years. Um, and after I trained in Brooklyn for dance for P.D., I came back and I knew there were people with Parkinson's, but I didn't know anyone personally. And through Facebook, I found my first member, Giti Bazargan. She's an Iranian. And I said, will you be my guinea pig? Will you move with me? because I had to experiment, right? It was in concept. Because see, in the West, Shankar, as you realize and appreciate in the US, dance for ABC issues or sing for Alzheimer's or music for Alzheimer's is easily been there for a little shy of 2 decades, I would say, 15 to 18 years.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you have students who are studying this, there are master's courses and thesis being done, research. But um, unfortunately, we are a little behind, but happy to still share that we are on the path and getting there. So
You're
when I went
specifically
and
talking about Dubai, right?
in Dubai and India was up until Tripura started, at least the concept of movement for various issues that, intervention was needed for through counseling. But in the Middle East, yes, there still isn't anything as such where you can even say dance for Parkinson. So my group is called Movement Mantra because I wanted to keep it very generic. Mantra is again a Sanskrit word which means from the mind, manhase, minds. So something which is mindful. So movement which is mindful. Mantra also is something that you do day in, day out, whether you do your chants or you do your beats, or you go for a coffee, you go to Starbucks every day, say, this is my mantra, I have to do my Starbucks at 5 p.m., right? So movement is their mantra now. It is the other side of the coin to medication. In fact, some neurologists even go to the extent of saying movement is medicine for people with Parkinson's. So movement mantra, I'm humbled and happy to share that the name does suggest what my entire initiative was, where it was coming from, the space it was coming from. And in terms of benefits, yes, I've actually witnessed short-term and long-term benefits. Short-term, as you said earlier, it gives you that the natural, therapy that dance is, the endorphins and dopa levels get affected. So people come in with a lot of rigidity. They'll take like minutes from the gate to come to their seat and trembling and festinating and freezing. And you're going back much more agile and fluid. So it's not rocket science. It's just that you have helped your body move. You've reconnected with that. And so one example is one of the drivers who would bring my second lady who joined us, Rashmi. Uh, she would have to be held by her husband, by the driver sometimes to come till the seat to the class, and she would go out on her own into the car. And the driver felt very redundant. He said, Madam, when I bring her in the morning, she's not like this, but when she goes back, she's so much, and she's happier. Here I must again bring to light the therapeutic effect of a group session. Unlike a clinical one-on-one patient therapy that you go to for physiotherapy or anything else, here it's the aesthetics, it's the emotion of dance, which is the intervention. So the group really helped to look forward to meeting with each other. So apart from the physical benefits, next is the psychological benefits, because with Parkinson's, when you have lost your speech, you've starting to drool, or you got that mask face, you are not happy socializing anymore. You want to be just curtains drawn. My dad would face the wall and not want to see anyone. But here, he is absolutely aware that man of 70-year-old, an engineer by profession and experience, is all alive there. But he can't converse, he can't express himself. And that was the biggest trauma for me. That for 2 years, I couldn't understand what dad was saying to us. We were guesswork. We got whiteboards, markers, asked him to type. But the hands become so rigid that you barely reached letter L if that's what you want to type. you got to the L and your finger is still on L and it's got lines of L type before you can lift your finger off. It's that
Oh,
rigid. And then dad would go looking for the backspace. So take another few minutes to reach backspace and voila, it's all gone. Even the first L is gone. That wasn't easy. And tell me, who has the time at home to sit and do this with you day in, day out? Spouses, children, coming to caregivers. We all need to take care of the caregivers as well. So that's when I saw all that, I said, look, I may not, or movement may not be curing you of the disease. You're not ending the disease, but you're delaying the progression. It's keeping you more functional. It's keeping you independent at least, right? And that will give you happiness. So when members would come to this group and they would meet each other and there'll be new acceptance because nobody's judging you here, right? Oh, you took a fall. Oh my God, last week I had a fall. Wait, how did you fall? You wouldn't talk that at home. If you have a relative come, you would just sit and say, "Ha, kuch lag gaya tha, something I bumped into the wall or something." But here you're discussing your blue patches in passionate details. So there's a release of sorts because there was a new acceptance. So socially, psychologically, there was a lot of plus. I mean, feedback from daughters-in-law, from sons and spouses that they look forward to the sessions. Not because it's Vonita's session, it could be anybody's session. But the fact is, there is rhythm, there is music, there is group, there is movement, and that wants them to come back. So for me, my benchmark was, it's not clinically, I mean, I haven't gotten any research done on it, but it's, if someone's coming back for something, it must be doing something good to them, right?
yeah.
I had an English, I wouldn't name her, she wouldn't be happy being named, but um, a lovely lady from the UK who's living in Dubai. So one day we were doing Ore Piya Sneha, what I did at Zorba. So it's, it's like, as dancing, they're listening to music and something says, okay, how about move to this? So for me, it was not that it's a Bollywood number or it's Madhuri Dixit. It's like a full shoulder rotation to Ore Piya, and I'm stretching and I'm getting my spinal stretch when I look up. Udne laga kyun? So when I'm going there, and I'm udne laga, I'm going to fly, I am going to look up to the sky. And if I tell a member with Parkinson, look up, Udne laga kyun? You are looking up to the sky. So Jane did that with me. Gitti, who's Iranian, Jane, who's English. I just said, okay, let me try this. And they did that. Gitti started to tear up. She actually cried. And Jane said, this is the first session. She said, Vanita, I don't know the lyrics. So I kept explaining the gist of the song. She said, I don't understand, but it feels good. So it must be something good that you're doing to us, That's the power of movement. That's the power of dance. That's the power of music. The connection that happens to the body and the mind. Nobody can doubt that. So physical level, emotional level, social level, psychological level, you see benefits everywhere. But yeah, the thing
Wow.
is, it has to be repetitive. You can't come one day and not come for 2 months, say, oh, you know what? It didn't do nothing to me. Nah. It's like popping a pill every day. Would you miss your levodopa pill even a day? You'd be paranoid if you fell short of a pill. It's that important. So I do lose a lot of my voice telling them, guys, come, I'm here waiting for you on Zoom now. Come one. So I'm doing my Zoom sessions now, Shankar, as all of us are shifted to the virtual uh, sessions. And I'm very happy that I was apprehensive, to be honest. I'm not a very tech person. I said, nah, I'll wait. But who knew the waiting was beyond 2 months or could be beyond 6 months. And I said, okay, let me try. People from Chennai, Bangalore, Kerala, Kashmir, Pakistan,
Wow.
Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, they're all joining in for the sessions.
That's
So,
amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing. The Vasudeva Kutum, the whole world has become your
absolutely.
and is coming into your
That's a
room.
silver lining of the
Yes.
COVID moments here. So yeah, No, so to answer your question, the benefits at every level, at every front, but we need to be consistently doing it and
You know,
keep
one thing
connecting.
it struck me, uh, so many of us are on Zoom calls so long. In
Mm.
fact, I've been seeing these ads where the kids are saying, "Oh no, not Zoom again." I'm fear of zooming out. FOZO. FOZO is the
Yeah,
newer FOMO, they say. Fear of
fear of
missing out
zooming.
was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
previous thing.
from the
And now,
FOMO to Zomo. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Fear of zooming out is like how much? But
yeah,
what
that's a
I
good one.
realized
That's a
is,
good one. FOMO to FOZO now.
yeah, I think one of the big concerns that even little young people have, anybody, and we should have, is we cannot be staring like this. Our
Yeah,
whole body freezes.
yeah,
Already people were doing that when they're programmers or on the computers,
yeah,
but now it's getting worse. We want to look proper and we're like rigid. If we can, my wife did that. She basically
yeah,
started playing the happy music and like
yeah.
at the beginning of her session, because how long can you be on the computer staring at each other? Like
Yeah,
people are just
yeah.
going, "Duh,
Just
duh,
keep
duh,
moving.
duh."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's natural. It's less of a distraction when everybody's swaying
Absolutely.
together. So
True, true.
yeah. By the way, in what ways has it changed your life? I know you've been helping lots of people. In what ways
Yeah,
has your life changed as you started doing these activities with seniors and with other people, and especially during COVID, the Zoom
yeah,
in, Zoom out?
yeah. No, yeah, thanks for asking that because after dad passed on, in fact, we lost mom 1 year before dad's death, which was
Uh,
big bummer because we always took mom for granted. Oh, ma hai na, mom, dad's taken a fall. Mom, dad's therapy. Mom, his medication. Once she was a medical practitioner, so and we were away with siblings. I had two younger brothers. I lost one last year. He was 49. Uh, that was another loss. So mom went in 2008, dad in 2009. And there was this big void, I had just moved to Dubai from Mexico City. I had come to India, spent 11 months, and then came to Dubai. So, there was everything in that sense. It was a nice, lovely villa, husband with a good job with Shell, two daughters going to good schools, help at home, by God's grace. But there was something missing, right? Of course, there was that loss, physical loss of mom and dad having passed in exactly 1 year. But there was this restlessness. There was something not right, something not complete, because I personally had made mistakes in seeing Papa through his journey, right, Sneha? Um, I babysat him.
mm,
If he was eating his food, Parkinson's is also known as the dirty tie syndrome because there's so much of rigidity that when you're trying to bring your spoon, instead of being able to do that, you just kind of keep bringing it and your curries start to trickle down your shirt and your tie and this empty spoon that goes into your mouth. So I started to feed him. The daughters could get away with anything but the dads. So his big ego must have bothered him that he's being fed by the daughter in front of everybody. But I said, it's okay, I'm feeding him. I thought I was being a good caregiver. I was robbing him of his mobility, which I didn't realize then. He became so rigid that he couldn't comb his hair. Bhaiya, why didn't you just comb dad's hair? Got done. He would take 10 minutes to bow down to put his laces on. Hey, driver Bhaiya, can you do that for him? We made him into a robot without realizing that we were robbing him royally of his mobility. So when would sit down after dad's passing on, I said, I wish I had made him move. I wish I had taken him for more physiotherapy. I wish I had done some Kathak with him. So I said, you know what? I wish won't work. So it was really that adversity to an opportunity which I was craving for. I didn't know how then. I started volunteering at different places with special needs kids and just doing random acts of kindness here and there till I I must share, I was sat on a pot. That's, I think, where the best ideas happen at times. And I said, oh, I wish we could do some Kathak movements with people with Parkinson's. I thought I was really the Einstein who had thought of that because, I hadn't known of dance as a therapy to that extent. And I Googled 3 words: Parkinson's, movement, dance. And there was this like huge list of stuff in the US and UK happening. Um, so I connected with the Brooklyn team, Mark Morris Dance Group, MMDG in Brooklyn, who under their ages you have dance for PD. I went and trained with them. So I would say, Shankar, to answer your question, sorry I've taken a long journey to answer this, but there is this sense of closure, this sense of, um, I'm happy about what I'm doing. Um, so I tell my members, anyone you know, please tell them about your group. It's not a business. I'm not making money here, but it's about connecting with those who are behind those shut doors because we saw Dad go through it. So I know that it can be helped. You can delay the progression. So it gives me a big sense of, I would say, yeah, any adjective is happiness, it's completeness, it's gratifying because it's making a difference. So it's helped me use my learnings through my growing up years to something which is now being applied to help people. Um, so yeah, I couldn't be happier.
Oh, and it's so gratifying to hear that. And I heard a little anecdote yesterday from Sneh. Sneh has been teaching dance to her dad. Tell us a little bit about that, Sneh.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's beautiful.
He's my new student. He's my new client. I can see now. Even my journey is like from some bad experience or incident. It has made me that I should keep him healthy. I should keep him flexible at his age because he had hypernatremia in 2016, because of which his body has become rigid and there was wrong diagnosis, wrong treatment. It's like it happens too much when there is no proper diagnosis. So this small thing which turned out to be a big thing. So I'm avoiding that in further
Yeah,
ages you should not get any kind of diseases like Alzheimer's. And I read somewhere that dance helps to avoid Alzheimer's.
yeah,
That only one sentence has made me to make him keep moving, please listen to music, please keep doing something.
yeah.
So I push him to like do physical exercises, to listen to music, to listen to bhajans, to move when the bhajans are like okay, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Start actually clapping, I say.
Yeah, that's therapy in itself. Yeah.
Therapy in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, for those interested in these things, we will do actually a session tomorrow. So you'll see it as another video where Sneh becomes the teacher and her dad, and I will definitely be there. Maybe
Yeah.
Vonita will join us if the time permits.
If the
But
time
again,
permits, I'll see. Yeah.
yeah, we want people to know that, in fact, some of the best teachers for dance are the children. I remember when my 2-year-old became my teacher. We had gone for a Garba in San Francisco Bay Area, and
Mhm.
I was supposed to be the babysitter. My wife was going to be dancing. It was like 5,000 people, so I was supposed to be a responsible babysitter. But before I knew it, my daughter, 2.5-year-old, just slipped out of my arms, and she was in the middle of all this. And I was like, today
Wow.
I'm going to be dead. I have no answer to give to my wife. What did I do? And before I knew it, she was out there dancing. First time in her life, just spontaneously.
Yeah, look
And
at that. Look at the spontaneity, right?
yes. And it took me, I remember asking her that question for the next 5 years. How can you do parabolas and hyperbolas and, you know, y equals minus x? All that was
Yeah,
happening in my head was equations,
yeah.
mathematical equations describing the different arches and the
Angles
movements
and
and
the
all that.
arches.
Like
And
that.
And one day she explained it in like 2, 3 words. She said, Dad, you're thinking too hard. All you need to do is chill, 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 chill. So yes,
Yeah, so
it's
true.
true.
Yeah.
And I'm so
Yeah.
grateful, Sneh. I think you have been getting greetings on Teachers' Day from the seniors you've been coaching, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not a teacher. I just come and take therapy, or I'm just making you to move. They are like, no, no, you're teaching us something to do in this age. They are like 85 plus, I can say.
Wow.
85 to 88 is the age group I'm working with them. And I got a message saying, you're teaching us something. You're teaching us to smile. You're teaching us to be happy. And we carry that happiness with us for a week till you come the next week. And during one session, I had a very nice feedback from a lady saying, like, when a baby is small, it's just like clay. The way we want to shape it, we shape them. And same thing is with the senior citizens or with the old age people. And we are back with the same clay, but in that clay, there is a bit of kachra, which she is removing and shaping us very well. And after hearing that, I had tears in my ears. Like, what I'm doing is something I felt is just a therapy, but this is beyond therapy happening something. I just gave me such big gift in my life.
Indeed,
Nice.
indeed. In fact, it's such a blessing for me also. It's like cleansing the body and the mind. Even when I'm doing dishes now, I do it like with music, you know. It's like, or before it started raining and it gets hot, I go, Barasore mega mega. I'm calling the rain, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
all of us have done our fair share.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Bollywood. It could be even a Espanol tune,
Yeah, anything.
Kauma Lambada. It's amazing. Line
Yeah.
dancing. So, would you like to show us some of your video clips about the kind of things, particularly because it's Parkinson's Day and you have done some work in that? Would you like to share your screen and tell us about it?
I will do, yes. It was in fact before I start the screen last year, because April is World Parkinson's Month
Yes.
globally. So every year in the last 5 years, all I've tried to do is raise awareness on Parkinson's, because that's the first step really towards acceptance first. So we would do some workshops or some seminars. But last year I started to do along with a friend of mine, a dancer friend, and she's into theater as well. Wanted to use the art form, theater, dance, music, to make a production and reach out to the larger community, to help them understand about the disease. So it was a theater, a 1 hour long play done by professional artists based on uh, the journey, our journey with that. So it was absolutely a true story, because truth be told, I mean, if I'll be doing a disservice if I had to start hiding stuff. So I'll just see if I can share a bit of 1 minute again.
Yeah, make sure you also share the audio. While
Yes,
you're sharing the screen, make sure you share the sound as well.
yes, I've got the share or the
Perfect.
clip on. Real dancing was
since it follows the story of Vonita and how her true experience with her father for Parkinson. So obviously the genesis of the story is from her personal experience. So it's a deeply personal story that we also wanted to connect to the story of how movement can be used as a therapy, as a modality for working with PD heroes.
It was a concept in my mind for about 2 years or more that I wanted to talk about Parkinson's, talk about the importance of movement for Parkinson's at a community level. I wanted to bring it out to the public.
I play the character of Prem, and
Maybe we can pause here because now it's more about the theatre stuff and.
Is that your dad?
No, two of my members here. This could get edited, but I have something just coming after this.
Thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed the show.
We want this coming.
And that was the moment it all crystallized in my mind. How Pa encouraged me to dance. How he pushed us to our full potential. How Ma would selflessly lend a helping hand to any that needed one. I realized that all the mistakes we made was so that we could work towards not letting them be repeated again. We had to move. I had to move.
So that was a bit of the play that we did in some bits. That this friend Shireen, she played Vonita. She played my role, and so there are other dance pieces in between. But that was a bit about the play, and then yeah.
So let's stop screen. Stop the
I stopped
sharing screen.
sharing, yeah.
Okay.
And if there is one, if I have another couple of minutes, I could.
Yeah, let's show. We wanted to show the other clip also, right?
One more clip where we have the members who are. Here again, there may be little snippets of. Here in Ramadan, they one year they did some stories through the 30 days. So they picked up some initiatives as these. So I was one of the works that got picked up. So it was called the Splash Heart of Gold by the Splash group.
Wow.
For a PD member. So hence the name, he was rigid. He couldn't move because we lost Dad to Parkinson's in 2009. Dad, by the third year after his diagnosis, was totally robotic. He was rigid. He couldn't move his arm beyond this point. So movement is your mantra for a PD member. So hence the name Movement Mantra. And I'm a dancer by background, in the sense of from the age of 3.5, I've been learning Kathak. I said, okay, dance for Parkinson, because it's movement, right? And it's very therapeutic. The logic behind dance for PD is that just like a dancer, I learn a particular piece, right? So I know it's the earth first, then it's water, then it's fire, then it's the wind. That is what a PD patient as well needs, is to learn how to move.
मेरे 2 हाथ में और 2 लेग्स में जो पहले मूवमेंट नहीं करता था, तो ये एक्सरसाइज करने में मुझे 25% अभी तो मूवमेंट में फ़र्क आ गया है.
And the
Yeah, then it goes on, just a little more talk what we have shared earlier.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And this is so important to realize that all of us who are sitting at home, all of us who are, sometimes many of us are thinking of postponing our life till post-pandemic or post-COVID. We know we have no idea. We cannot stay frozen in time. So whatever we are discussing here, the exercises, the movement, anything you like, maybe if you have children, watch them. If you have videos, try that out within limits. Just don't injure yourself. But there are simple movements we can do. I call it chair dancing. When I got injured, I would actually move on the chair, which I
Yeah,
learned. You can even find YouTube videos on chair dancing.
absolutely.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's so
yeah.
necessary. Like you did, I actually Googled on dance without steps. And that's how I
Ah,
found ecstatic
yeah.
dance. I found five rhythms, soul
Ah,
motion. How did you
yeah.
find dance therapy, Sneh? What was your journey like, if I may ask?
I had been to Pune for some other course, and I came to know that there's some dance movement therapy course happening at Sanjeevi Healthcare Academy. And I just inquired about it through Facebook. I had got this to know. I inquired, and they're like, "Yeah, we are starting a course, and we'll be having an interview. We'll take a dance audition and all." Then I we had been there for interview. I had asked them what's the concept of dance movement therapy, and is it happening in India or it's really completely new to India? So I had many questions like dance and therapy, movement and therapy, what exactly it is. It was like completely a time of confusion as who's interviewing whom. Like I had been there for interview, but I was asking the questions. So what is the concept? Who started it? Who brought it to India? Kind of things. And then I was the very first student of my batch to go for the interview and start with the course. And I got selected. I was very super excited for the course. Then during our course, I came to know about Tripura ma'am, and she's doing something called Sinta, and her work is really very amazing. And after completion of course, we went to the first conference, which was our first conference and Sinta's first conference in Delhi. And after going to conference, I realized that too much learning and where we can use it in many ways. We had just thought that we have to use it for senior citizens, for pregnant ladies, for normal neurotics, or special kids. But after going there, I came to realize that many other art-based therapies. And I met a lady over there who said that she used to take sessions of Nirbhaya case, the the people who raped her.
Yeah, yeah.
Nirbhaya case, rapist. She took sessions for them, and I was like, my eyes just
Oh,
came up with these people. They take so much big steps, and there's so much of learning from them. And from there, the journey became a bit faster. That I have to work with this field. I can try for this field. I have interest in doing nutrition for pregnant ladies, and why not something therapy which is helpful for them. And then I started doing the conferences every year coming, and I suddenly got an idea that I should start my own studio, a space where they don't get only dance therapy, but all kind of therapies like music, sound, and even writing therapy. It's really helpful. I just came across
art, all
writing
art based, yeah.
art. So before lockdown, I was planning to start my studio, but this lockdown has given a push that get little more prepared for your studio. So I'm working on that, and I have even enrolled myself for the Sintai course, PG diploma in dance movement therapy, and I'm looking forward to learn more and do something much better than before.
Yes, and in fact, as we've discussed before, the best we can do is because there's a pause button, the pandemic, we can get more prepared for a meaningful direction. Do you have any other suggestions, both Vanita and Sneh, as to what can we do? How can we productively use this pause button, this time that we have? Well, it's easy to fret, it's easy to blame, it's easy to lose, you know, a sense of movement. And of course, those who have lost jobs, those who don't have enough, or those who have family members or sick, it is necessary that they take care of their families. But a majority of the people are not, fortunately, not in that situation. Even today,
Yeah.
most people have some savings, and not many people, fortunately, have become really sick. So what
Yeah.
suggestions do you have? How can people make the most mindful use of their time right now? Vonita, you want to speak to that?
Um, we are, as you said, it's a mixed bag of some of us who are more affected, some are not that affected, some have lost jobs, some are on 50% salary cuts. We're seeing them personally around us, friends and relatives. So for me, I would think that the first thing is, as I've even mentioned earlier, is the acceptance of the situation. I mean, we just can't be fighting it. We fight COVID in one physical sense, that you follow the protocol and stay safe, but you can't really fight the concept that it is there, it is very much there, and that it is around us. So I would say acceptance of the situation, and solace from the fact that it is a global happening. You're not alone there. So no one's going to judge you. No one's going to kind of blame you for anything that hasn't gone the way that you had planned. So it has so happened for so many of us. So not to be harsh on yourself and blame yourself. But third, I think, having said that, reach out. I think it's upon each one of us, the three of us here and the others, to stay connected. I think we are all into WhatsApp mode today, but to pick up a phone and speak to someone, or even do a Zoom call, because you do elicit, once you share something at your end. Like, for example, even with Parkinson's, when I started talking about the challenges that Dad had, which are not very easily spoken of, like that he was constipated, he used to hallucinate, he had incontinence issues. The minute I said, oh, Dad also, yeah, me too, 5 years I've been, suffering from constipation. So taking from there, I feel that if I share, saying, Shankar, you know what, Tony is very wary about his job, he's already lost 50% of his salary. It's going to somewhere make you feel a little relieved that it's happening to, because unless we talk, it's not going to help us or the others. So, they say that help begins where your hand ends. So reach out, because if you sat like that, no one's going to come to you to unfold your hands and say. So be ready for a hug, to embrace, and extend your hand, because help is there. There are people, there are good souls there to give you the jadoo ki jappi, but you need to have your arms open. So I would just say that we all have to drop our guards and just, it's global. We're all in it together. So
embrace our interdependence.
Yes, absolutely.
To embrace community and
to embrace community, and yeah. So I think first embrace it yourself, and
acceptance, self-awareness.
Feel solid with that, and as they say, put your oxygen mask before you go to help the others. But there are people who need us, each one of us need the others, So yeah, and deep breathe. I'll end with that. It's deep breathing is so important. And
both of you are into meditation of a particular kind. Would you, either of you, want to talk about that? My main thing is mindfulness, mindful awareness of the body. In technical terms, that would be vipassana in Buddhist, the teachings of the Buddha. And I've also met your teacher, Sri Ravi Shankar, who taught the Sudarshan Kriya.
Right.
And would either of you want to describe what that is and how it has helped you? Sneh, you want to talk?
Yeah, I can share quickly, sure. And then Sneha can share, because I think
sure.
So for me, what really got me to, because see, the many of us, as you said, you may have also done the part 1 course, but one follows a different path or a curriculum, or there's a different syllabus for different people. But to me, that awareness of the connect between breath pattern and emotion was so profound. It's like, when you are stressed and you are oh my God,
hyperventilating.
short and shallow breath. And if there's a sad piece of news, God forbid, it's like, oh my God. Whether it's Shankar or Sneha or Vani or anyone, it's like, oh my God. So you see the breath pattern is in and clamp. And you get a lovely piece of news and you say, oh, thank God I was waiting for that. So how is your breath pattern? It is deep and long. So you see the beautiful connect between emotion and the breath pattern. And it's what Shishi says, reverse osmosis kar do. It's a two-way process. It's not, I remember the dialogue. So it's not our emotion controlling our breath every time, but let's practice so much of control of our breath that we stay in that desirable state of mood and mind, which is the calm state, and that comes through regular practice of deep breath. So, and it's been proven by scientists all around, right? So whether it's about posture or about mood, how breath is related to um, our mood. So I have gained a lot in dealing with difficult times. During my mom and dad's illnesses, my brother's passing away last year. Um, so practicing of the processes has actually helped the mind body manage the ordeal better.
In fact, there's a movie made on it called Free the Mind, where Dr.
the
Emma
mind.
Seppala and Dr. Richie Davidson discuss, and they actually take up the Sudarshan Kriya or the Yes Plus protocol in a clinical setting in two areas, actually. They used it for veterans in the United States, people from the armed forces who had what's called post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Very difficult to do just sitting meditation with just observing. That is not easy for those who have gone through trauma and there are these flashbacks. So Yes Plus or Sudarshan Kriya is the technical name for it that Sri Ravi Shankar started, has been shown to be very, very efficacious. And in little kids with ADD or attention deficit disorder, so Free the Mind, and we will share a link for that. We'll also share a link to the video that you showed earlier, Vanita, where you talked about, the connection between,
Emotion and
dance. Exactly. And Sneh, would you like to share anything about your meditation practice and how it has changed your life also? Because I think this is also related. Movement includes stillness and the movement of the breath,
absolutely.
the movement in the body and mind.
My very regular and sincere meditation started after the lockdown when Gurudev himself was doing like guided meditation. And once that pattern I was fixed in it, even just I'm listening to him, I feel like there's something deep inside change happening within me, and there's a bit of like get calm. I was very hyper. Like if something good happens, if I'm very happy, I have to start popping up like a popcorn. So there's a bit control, which is required. Like every time you don't need to be a popcorn. So guided meditation has helped me a lot, and now I can meditate by myself with some soft music, or even if I don't have music, I can meditate. So meditation has given me something which I really wanted. That has helped me.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we're talking about all these things on World Brain Day. Thank you, Sneh, for reminding us and also bringing us that focus, the laser sharp focus on some of the most challenging brain diseases, such as Parkinson's. And we are all grateful to Tripura Kashyap, who brought us together and brought all of India to appreciate different forms of dance and creative arts therapies and integrate that into the folklore, the music, the folk dances of India. And I'm also grateful to my teachers in the United States, particularly Claire Alexander, who got me started in 2003. And on the meditation side, S.N. Goenka, who helped me get into mindfulness of the breath. And of course, the Center for Compassion at Stanford, where Dr. Jim Doty and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and many, many yoga teachers. There's so many. I mean, there's so much gratitude that all of
Yeah.
us have.
Lovely.
Anybody
Hold
else
on.
you want to say thank you to? We had so many amazing people with us, behind us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks to Google. It helped me to know that today is World Brain Day.
Yes,
It helps
we call
me
her Google Ma.
I'm Google Mama.
Yeah.
So thank you again, and just a reminder: find a way to move. What moves you? You know, just be aware of what moves us, and
Yeah.
how can we move deliberately, not just stumble through life, but instead of stumbling through happiness, stumbling through emotions, can we move?
Yeah.
Move our breath, move our body, keep our mind still, keep our body still. You know, stillness is one of the forms of movement also.
Absolutely.
It's a you know it's a flow. So in 5 rhythms we talk about flow, we talk about staccato, directed movement, chaos, embracing the chaos, lyrical, where all of this comes into play, and then back to stillness, back to silence. So with that, we'll be closing our session, and thank you all for being with us.
Thank
If you have
you.
any
Thank you.
questions, let us know. I'll share the links for all of us, how you can get in touch, whichever is the best way to get in touch, both with our practices as well as if you have any questions for us. And if there's enough interest, we will do follow-on sessions. And yes, we're going to do one where Sneh will be the teacher for elders, including me and her own dad. So it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun tomorrow.
Look forward. Yeah.
So thank you all, and have a great,
Thank you. Thank
mindfully
you.
moving day.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Thanks for the opportunity. It is a beautiful day to be talking of what we did today for
Yes.
on Parkinson's Day awareness.
And
Thank
thanks,
you
Sneh, for bringing us all together.
for bringing it up. Yeah. Thank
Honor.
you.
I was
Thank
just
you.
so I'll get connected from all these people I met in conference, but
It's
Good.
reunion
Yeah.
time. It's reunion time. Okay, bye for now.
Okay. All the best and thank you. Bye.
Bye.